Oh, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lord, my Lordy. Eva, you little minx of a flirt, child. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Welcome in, everybody, to your Beyond the Gates episode 19 after show. Y'all, listen, I needed a little me time for me. Of course, we had March Madness, so that's why the episodes were preempted, episodes 19 and 20, but they are back. Those episodes are coming out this week. Of course, the show is back, but oh my Lord, there's so much going on these YouTube streets. Let me tell you something. Sometimes peeking into somebody else's life, just like Fairmont Crest, it lets you know what you're going through is only for a moment. Be grateful for where you are and just keep moving forward. And with that being said, let's make it do what it do with your Beyond the Gates episode 19 after show. So Elon and Anita talk. So Elon's the chief of police and Anita Dupree talk. Darlene is sassy as ever, and she is also sassy at dispatch. So his wife Darlene works at dispatch while Elon works as chief of police. So Elon is Jacob's dad, in case you guys did not know. The boys have been boys for a while. Jacob was torn up about, arresting Dan Dupree, and Anita was gracious to, say that Jacob is a outstanding cop and citizen of society, so we understand he had to do what he had to do. And, everybody appreciates his conduct, and then Luke is forging his own way into the department. And so Anita is very happy for that. So then there is this event for the Officer Fund. And, Elon's like, okay, well, I'm glad you're a part of it. Thank you for your support. And, Elon and Anita's like, no, you're getting the full Anita Dupree experience. And she's preparing herself to be hands-on. Naomi brings food to Jacob at the police station. So now we're with Naomi and Jacob at the police station. Naomi is worried about the case, and Jacob says your dad's firm is hiding something and some secrecies are to be brought to the light. So then we're with Doug and Vanessa at Ophrey Jeans. Randy is calling Doug, and Vanessa's like, is there some side chick that I need to know about? And Doug says, you are the side piece, appetizer, and main course. I have nothing to hide. I'm just like, you forgot dessert, my Lord Jesus. You forgot dessert. Is she not dessert to you, my Lord Jesus? So there's no room for nothing else. Then Doug comes up with this cardiac CT thing that's brought into the hospital, and that it can detect things before it even happens, and it's got a monitor as clear as HDTV. And Vanessa's like, well, that would put you out of business, and what would you do? And then Doug said, spend time with my wife and drive her crazy 24/7. Now, here's the thing, right? I feel like Vanessa and Doug back in the day, they had this wonderful, wonderful marriage. And for some reason, right, I think that Doug got connected to his purpose more than his marriage. And then you start to add in gambling. And when you add in gambling, then you really are down the rabbit hole. So I think Doug has spent more time gambling and, and loving his, purpose than his wife. I think Vanessa, while she is this top tier real estate agent, I think that she has grown some resentment, but she suppresses it the best way she can by allowing her sexual frustrations out on other men. You know what I mean? So, oh, my Lord Jesus. So then Joey Armstrong and Vanessa meet. Chelsea. So then we're Chelsea and Kat at the country club. And so Chelsea live streamed the end of their workout talking about the leggings. And somebody makes a comment about the leggings. And, I do love the fact that they are allowing the story to breathe. And we are here for we're here for the vibes, not for the negative. We're here for the vibes, not for the negative comments. Something to that degree, because somebody made negative comments about, Chelsea and how she looked in the leggings. Personally, I didn't really mind Chelsea in the leggings. When she sat down, I saw some thickness from Chelsea. I'm like, okay, then Chelsea, I'm not mad at it at all. I think that it's nice to see a healthy woman on daytime TV. Kat is also gorgeous as well, but I'd rather have Chelsea than Kat. That's just my preference. Because Chelsea got a dog. Okay, listen, I'm trying to be respectful about it, but Chelsea got a dog. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So apparently there's a boomer brand that's reaching out to Chelsea and Kat to want to partner with them. And, Chelsea does not really want to do that because she wants to create a black owned luxury brand that is fully theirs. And Chelsea has not told Dan that she does not want to stop modeling. This has been a contentious point because of the fact that Chelsea wants to make her own name, but also too she understands that, what Chelsea has with her mom, that's Danny's last connection to be able to have any resemblance of life. And while I do appreciate Chelsea for recognizing her um, energy as a daughter, Danny also has to grow up too. You know what I mean? Um, but maybe there's a way to make that work for you, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So then we're at Garland Hospital. So Eva injures herself on purpose. Eva, what are you doing? So, there's a car in front of Eva. Eva obviously sees the car and wrecks herself into the car accidentally. Um, and so she says to Tomas that she didn't see the car, which she did. Um, and Evil was like, Cat, where are you and Cat, and would Cat be upset if you were talking to some stranger? And Thomas says, we're keeping the casual, don't know what we are. Oh, Tomas, you do not know what you've done with Eva yet, but oh, you will. So then Joey Armstrong and Vanessa talk. Then we're back with Chelsea and Kat. They're now at Orphy Jeans. So you can stand up to $1 billion brand, but yet you can't stand up to your mom. And Chelsea does not want to hurt her mom. Then we're back with Naomi. Um, Naomi is worried about. We're back with Naomi and Jacob, rather. Naomi is worried about how this case will reignite the whole media circus, and that they just went through a public storm in the media, and that the scandal will overshadow the case. And Jacob's like, that's all true, but what could happen if they don't, um, you know, have their case? They could lose their day in court. And this is what I was saying, Naomi, right? Your dad, quite frankly, is a bastard of waste, right? And he's with a concubine of waste named Haley. Your dad backstabbed your mother and also backstabbed you by sleeping with your best friend. No matter how many times they apologize, right is right, wrong is wrong. And I think based on past behavior, it goes to show that your dad never really gets held responsible for anything. So I think it's about time that your dad learned that there are consequences for what you do. Those ladies did choose you for a reason. And I think that this might make Bill actually fight. because I don't think he's ever fought in a case. I think he has utilized favors for him to get out of shit that his clients has put themselves in, that he's put himself in, but I don't think he's ever had to really fight. So the fact that he will be up against you make him actually work. So I think it could work out for your favor, because I don't think Bill has what it takes to actually have the stamina to win. So Gabe is given a discount for the catering with Anita and Elon. There's invites, auction house, the musical acts. And, Elon says we could probably double, triple that record. And he says, I'm going for the all-time record, right? And very nice moment of Anita, giving back to the community, putting some good in the neighborhood. And, they need to get Elon, Darlene, Vernon, and Anita. They all need to get in-laws brunch on the books. And Darlene puts on the records of Anita's group, the Archelettes, and pretends to be in the group. So I love the fact that we're kind of getting more into Anita Dupree's past now. A little bit more. So, then we see Anita on the phone with somebody, and she says Elon was pleased. Any other pressing matters, send it over so she could look at an update and give her approval. And Anita said, yes, she does like to fill up her days. And then we see her look at her awards and the memories of her past. And what that told me was, while she may miss the hustle and bustle, she appreciates the peace. And I think two things can be true. You can appreciate the peace of not having to do so much, but you miss the kinetic energy of being creative. And that's the same thing that I would say about college. I do not miss the homework. Nope, I don't miss the homework. I don't miss the assignments. What I do miss is being on a campus where you're sitting to the next person that could do the next big thing. I miss that kinetic energy, right? So I feel where Anita Dupree is coming from. So Eva and Tomas talk, and that, all files are accounted for. And Eva says, well, if I want to explore my options over soon the hospital over dinner, did you put your card in there? And Eva and Tomas, there's a bit of flirty exchange going on. And, Eva says that Kat is a lucky girl, right? So I think Eva was just kind of that snake from the Jungle Book that, hypnotized Mowgli. I think that Eva, she's poking and prodding a little bit. She's trying to make the room shake for Kat and Tomas. So we'll see. We'll see. So then, we talked to Kat and Chelsea. And Kat has this brilliant idea of, I'm not leaving your dream. I'm just elevating it up, because there are opportunities now that you didn't have back then. And that, I'm just bringing it to the digital age, right? And I have to tell you, I really do love this, not so much spin, but this new perspective of seeing what can be when it comes to, this point of view, right? Because first of all, Chelsea is trying to do the right thing when it comes to her mom. And Kat was very honest about, well, I have forgotten about how Aunt Danny is feeling. And so the fact that Kat and Chelsea will be utilizing, like, hey, look at our social media presence and what we're able to do for that. And here is how you can add to that, Chelsea. Hey, Mom, guess what? I can model our brand in our own fashion shows, right? I can model our bags and clothes and everything else on different fashion shows, right? So you could still do modeling, but you could do it for your own brand. So I think that's the way to go. I think that conversation will work out swimmingly. So that is going to be awesome sauce there. Hopefully that conversation goes well. Then we talk about the retirement home conversation with Vanessa and Joey. Joey wants to buy his mom her ultimate dream home, and Doug comes back to Orphan Jones and sees Vanessa and Joey. Now, this is interesting because Joey knows Doug already, right? Vanessa, this is her first time meeting Joey Armstrong. So, then, like I said, we're back at Grayland Hospital. Depends on where it leads, when it comes to Eric and not Eric, but when it comes to Eva and Tomas. But she doesn't want to give it to temptation. And neither does he, that he could, serve, but he doesn't want to go down that path. And Kat's a lucky girl, like I said. Oh Lord, Eva, you're dangerous, child. You're dangerous because there is a bit of intrigue to you. And Eva's a beautiful girl. We're not going to negate that. So Kat calls Tomas. Kat almost had to call through to Tomas. Had called Tomas and leave a note for his voicemail, and then just like Kat, text messages, right? So Kat says, "Can you come down to Orphy Jeans?" Of course, Tomas said he could be there in a few, and then Doug tells Joey that Vanessa is busy. So we're back at Orphy Jeans now, with Doug, Vanessa, and Joey Armstrong, and Kat is still there. At Orphy Jeans because Chelsea had to leave. So then, Anita and Naomi are talking about the case, and that Anita says she'll be David going up against Goliath, and Anita and Naomi talk about all the different negatives of the case, and then Anita says, "I'm just holding up a mirror to your own doubts." And then Anita then says, "Ask me, do you think if you can win?" And I love how Anita is a grandmother because she doesn't tell you what to do. She just gives you the space to breathe in what you think about what you would like to do, right? Because Anita also talks about how her dad's firm has more resources than she does, and that her name is growing in legal circles. And Anita then says those women chose you for a reason, that you would stand by them and stand up for them no matter what it takes, and that it's time to show when Dupree women decide to move mountains. And I love that Anita doesn't forget who she is as a Dupree woman and make sure that her legacy knows that. I think so many times in life we forget that, hey, guess what? Our legacy can only be as big as we invest in it, and it can be as little as we don't invest in it. So I love that in this show we get to see a family really not just showcase their legacy, but showcase the work about maintaining the legacy as well. So love that. So we're back with Joey and Vanessa. Joey wants a ranch style house, wheelchair accessible doorways, no high or low shelving. Then Kat and Tomas talked. Let's see here. Let's see. So yeah, Kat and Tomas talk, and they talk about how oh yeah. So we do. So I'm gonna get to that here in a minute. Vanessa and Joey shake hands, and Vanessa was a little bit leery of Joey Armstrong because he does have a reputation, but Vanessa has warmed up to him. Then we see Then we see Diego. He said you went from the cradle to the grave. Then Jacob and his dad Elon, they talk at the police station. So we're at the police station now. And Elon says, there are some, I know you guys are off of vibes, but we go off of cold hard facts here. And so, there's some cases that are worth a squeeze and some that are worth a goose chase. And Jacob talks about how Malone has turned a blind eye, right, to, crime with, Joey Armstrong, taking money in broad daylight. And my Lord Jesus, Elon feels like there's a tussle with him mentally with that. So, then we're with Kat and Tomas and, the physical part, Kat talks about not so much intercourse, but just, displays of affection. And Tomas says, you didn't even let me kiss you on the cheek for your people. And, Kat was like, that was for your protection. It's like, oh, my Lord Jesus. So now, Kat and Tomas, they do their first kiss, and it's so cute and kind, and gives y'all the warm fuzzies and everything. I'm being so sarcastic, but it was a nice moment. It was a very nice moment. And also, too, I love the fact that Orphe Jeans is the diner for everybody, that you see, people, from beyond the gates come in, and everyday people. So it's a place for everybody. I really do love that. And I think Orphe Jeans also humbles everybody too. Like, hey, listen, you're eating the same food I'm eating. This ain't no steakhouse or nothing like that. So I really do like that. Orphe Jeans is a centerpiece in the show. So, Vanessa does not appreciate Diego checking up on Vanessa. And Diego says, who do you want to see? You want to see your husband? You want to see Joey? Or do you want to see Diego? And Vanessa was like, I can do what I want to when I want to. So we're not really exclusive. And Vanessa said, I didn't know how hot Joey Armstrong was going to be. It's just like, oh, my Lord Jesus. Vanessa, please don't get involved with Joey Armstrong, because little do you know, he is going to make your husband a broke man, and you don't even know what's going on, right? So, then Vanessa says that depends. When can we get that workout in? So, Randy and Doug talk at Greatland Hospital. And, Doug says that, Joey was talking to Vanessa. Wasn't that weird? And Randy says, if, he was doing anything, I'll let you know. It's like, Randy, you do know something. That Joey's going to put your friend in so much debt that, he is going to have to, spend at the casino for the rest of his life, right? In so many words. So then, Anita was thinking about the good old days with Naomi. So we're back at the mansion now. Anita says, the Archulets were working 45 weeks out the year, running on fast food and soda. And she enjoyed her time. She had a great run with the girls, a solo career, a success as a Black actress, as much success as she could. But all the confidence it took and time and commitment for her to make it, that energy in her veins will run through Naomi's veins. So then, Anita, talks about her accomplishments, that she's into health and wellness and the literacy program and, the community theater program. And the reason why all this is happening is because, Naomi's like, so are you done? Do you not have anything else to do? In so many words, I'm paraphrasing, but basically that spurs on everything else. And that, Anita says that the library wanted to name a wing after her, but Anita says it better be the whole building or nothing else. So I'm like, oh my Lord Jesus, Anita, okay, then I see you. You're an all or nothing type of woman. All right then. But I mean, to talk about all of what Anita Dupree has done. What a legacy, right? That she, recognizes that her journey has not ended, it's just begun. So then we're at the casino with Doug, with Randy, and Joey. And so Doug is on a hot streak. Joey does not like this because if Doug is, debt free, then there's no ownership and there's nothing good from a freak puppet. In so many words, I'm just like, Joey, what's your angle, bro? Like you talk about your mom, right? Getting this dream home, and we haven't even seen your mom not one time at the show. And like, do you need Doug to like work on your Bob's surgery? Like, did he butcher it or did he butcher a family member surgery? Like, can we get a little more context because I'm not getting your existence yet on this show. I'm really not, but we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. So Doug is on a hot streak, which is a good thing. Um, let him have his day tomorrow. He loses his shirt. And I'm just like, for what though? And, what if you and Vanessa get entangled into a night and Doug sees that you and Vanessa are, having an affair. And then guess what? Then it comes out that, you've been trying to put Doug into debt and all that stuff. Vanessa finds out. And then it's a whole situation where you and your wife are caught in the crosshairs where Joey might try to do something to both of y'all just that way y'all don't have to talk because he wants to keep, whatever criminal scum. By the way, there's a famous quote on social media that says, "Stop right there, you criminal scum." So whatever criminal scum energy that Joey wants to be doing, he does not want anybody to get in his way. So Chelsea is talking to herself. We're at the country club, and Jacob sneaks up on Chelsea, and Chelsea's like, you don't need to do that. That makes me nervous. And Jacob's like, it helps me catch stealthy perps and this, that, third. And Chelsea asks, how do you separate, professional from personal? And Jacob's like, sometimes I have to check myself, but he does wear the stripes, and so I have to, rely on that. And Chelsea's like, it's not the same. And let me tell you something. As Chelsea was standing, I saw the curve or the curves in the skirt. I'm like, okay, Chelsea, you my type of woman. Okay, listen, if I had my choice between the two, I would say Chelsea, and I'll say Chelsea not just for the thickness that she has, obviously, but Chelsea, she really is her mother's daughter in the fact of she is such in a new school world, but yet she has values and requirements, right? And she's experimental with the couple, and she is into women, but she's very purposefully exploratory, but she's about having standards and requirements. Kat, I love Kat. I think she's gorgeous. The fact that she, is a virgin, I think that's a very commendable thing. Um, and I think that would be a contentious point in time if me and Kat, if I was in the show and me and Kat were trying to date. I think that would be contentious because it's like, okay, so we're doing makeout sessions, I'm holding you, I'm caressing you, um, this, that, and the third, but we can't go there. Like, I think that, and for some people, them dating a virgin can be a contentious topic because it's like, okay, well, if you have trauma, I totally understand that I will allow you work for this trauma, but at some point in time, I want to be able to be deeper with you. So I think that can be a contentious point. But either way, I think Kat or Chelsea would be great options to, go on dates with and maybe marry. But I saw Chelsea in that skirt, though. Okay, listen, we all saw it. Okay, Chelsea's a gorgeous woman. Yes, indeed. And I saw it when she was sitting down in the leggings because somebody said camel toe. It's just like, um, first of all, to make fun of somebody else is just making fun of yourself because you also have imperfections. So that's the bad side of social media with the council. The good side is we get to have, platforms like this. We get to, try to bring some good to the neighborhood. So then, we're back at the after that tangent. We're still at the country club. Jacob is gonna go to the gym. Um, then Elon and Malone talk that, Malone, put in a call for noise disturbance at the Quickie Mart, and Malone was able to put in a donut order. And that, Hazy wants a rite of passage back in the day from Elon, and Malone says separated the men from the boys, and Elon says Jacob has proven himself with that, right? He's a good cop. We can't have Jacob ask questions about you that I can't answer. And, Malone's like, just be nice to the kid. I got it. And, Malone has somewhat of an animosity to Elon because he says to Elon, like, you came down from your pearly gates just to talk to the common folk. It's just like, dude, who did you wrong? Like, really? And Elon says, that's my flesh and blood. If anything happens to him, you won't have to be coming looking for me. Exactly. You are trying to retire, do the right thing, get to your retirement, and just be in your peace. Don't make pieces happen or I'll put you in pieces. That's why I felt. So then, Kat, comes to the country club, ask, Chelsea, how did it go with, Aunt Danny, and Chelsea couldn't get a hold of Danny after her lunch thing. And the, Thomas and Kat, they talked, and Kat's telling Chelsea about the conversation that, Tomas has experienced in a way that she is not. And, Chelsea asks, are you in love? Kat says, I'm not in love. And then Chelsea says, well, there's your answer. And Kat was asked, how will I know? And, Chelsea said, you'll know. I won't have to tell you. So I thought that was a very nice cousin moment. And then Vanessa and Diego get it on. And, Diego's like, I thought we could do some reps, this, that, and the third. And Vanessa's like, that's not the workout I'm talking about. And we see some pictures along the wall now. I believe those are members of the country club, or maybe, the Fairmont Crest Hall of Fame. But hopefully that will be a bigger storytelling mechanic later on. So then, Vanessa and Diego get on, like I said, and, stick with it until you nail it. And then Doug is winning big, like I said before. And then we get to see Joey's phone go off, and it's Detective Malone. And Malone says, quit making mistakes like accepting payment money, like accepting money in broad daylight. And then we see Joey Armstrong say, that's what I pay you for. Handle it. So it looks like Joey Armstrong and Chief and Detective Malone are working together, which should be interesting. And then we're with we're with Naomi and Anita back at the mansion, and Naomi thanks Anita, and Anita says, that's what I'm supposed to give wisdom and look fabulous while doing it. And then apparently Anita thinks that she can rap, and so Anita says, I've been watching Cardi Z and Megan the Mustang. I love in this show, they don't care. They bring the realness from the real world into the show, because grandparents, they do say that. Baby, what's your name? What's your name is? You I know about that Carter Z and Megan the Mustang. And so, then he just says, I'm about to be so lit, you gotta put some shadow all over it. And then, Naomi says, you mean shade? And then there is a rap. I did not take down the lyrics of the rap because I am not a rapper, not here, not there, not anywhere. Brainly, I am, but it was a very decent rap. I will say that. I don't think it needs to make a rap album. But then after that, Anita said that she was on fleek, and that Naomi, Anita wanted Naomi to chime in, and Naomi said, "I'm Anita Dupree," and then Anita's like, "No, I'm Anita Dupree. You Naomi Dupree." And Anita says, "It's okay. You have other skills. You good. You're not good at this, but you have other skills." So I thought it was a beautiful moment between grandma and granddaughter. And y'all, that is your Beyond the Gates episode 19 after show. What a great episode. Um, we got deeper into, Malone, and maybe he might be a corrupted cop with a criminal. So really likes that. We got to see Tomas and Kat's connection grow a little bit. Really do like that. We got to see Chelsea, she's gaining traction, which is creating motion for her to tell her mom, Danny, that she's done with modeling. But I think there is a way that she can utilize her modeling for her good. Of, hey, mom, listen, I will still model if you can get me some modeling gigs for me and Kat's brand. So help me help you. So I think that would probably be the way they'll go about it. Doug, Lord Jesus, you're going to get yourself caught up. And there's not going to be anything Randy can do because Randy is hiding things from you. I love the fact that we get to see, the goodness of the neighborhood in this show. So there's a fallen officer fund that will be auction that'll be coming up. So hopefully we'll see that soon. And then also, too, the fact that we are seeing police at work, and what Elon says of what cases are for squeeze and what some cases going a wild goose chase. So we get to see, the police side of it all, and, with police relations in real life. We all know that those have not been the best and aren't the best for Black people. So that should be interesting. Like I said, Joey, he's interesting. I think he's more danger than anything else, but we shall see. And I think that's about it. And then, of course, Vanessa being a wife that is unsatisfied, and she's trying to find that joy that she wants to have with Doug through other people. I think that's going to get her caught up. So, and the trial with Naomi and Bill Hamilton, that's going to be a trial for sure. So, like I said, y'all, like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you all for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. It's so much fun to bring you guys these every day. So, yes, I know I didn't bring it on Monday, but we had 3 shows in one day. We reviewed Roa. We talked about Lizzo and Rosetta Tharpe, who was born out Complan, Arkansas. So there's a brand new movie there. And then we had our regular schmeck of the show at 11 a.m. on yesterday, on Monday. So thank you guys so much. One love, much love, all love. I feel the love and send it right back to you. Enjoy the day. Love you all. Bye.